Imagine a planet, not unlike our own, forming in the vast expanse of the universe. As the clock ticks forward a few 100 million years, life springs forth, becoming a vibrant and teeming web of existence. The right conditions existed, the necessary ingredients were present, and suddenly, Earth became a living world. From the depths of hydrothermal vents to the peaks of mountains, life thrived and evolved, adapting to the changing environment. This world, our world, developed an extraordinary biosphere that has thrived for billions of years. Can you picture it? Now, what if I told you there were other planets like Venus and Mars, which could have had similar chances to foster life? But what happened to them? Well, stay tuned and you'll find out. Hey there, Curiosity Explorers. Ready for another dive into the unknown? I'm your host, Caesar, and I'm here with the brilliant commentator, Sonia, as we journey into the depths of our vibrant planet.
Hey, Curiosity Explorers. So excited to be here and delve into today's fascinating subject with all of you.
And remember, your participation is key. Don't forget to subscribe to the Curiosity Wonderland, drop us a comment, and share the curiosities with your friends. Let's explore the universe together. It's quite the thought, isn't it? Trying to imagine our world in its early stages, a world not yet familiar to us but starting to form the basic building blocks of life. How Earth, Venus, and Mars all had the capacity for liquid water on their surfaces and the organic ingredients necessary for life. And yet, only Earth became the hub of life.
You're absolutely right. And this topic takes me back to when I was a child. I remember an instance where my friends and I came across a puddle of water after a heavy rain. You know how kids are, right? We got curious and started observing it closely. We saw how over time, little creatures started to appear in that small body of water. There were tadpoles, water beetles, and all sorts of tiny life forms. It was like our own little world in that puddle.
That must have been fascinating to watch.
Oh, definitely. It was like we had discovered a new world right there in that puddle. It's interesting to think that in the grand scheme of things, our Earth is like that puddle, a perfect mixture of ingredients that allowed life to flourish amidst the vastly uninhabitable cosmos. It's amazing, isn't it? Here we are, a result of billions of years of cosmic evolution, discussing the very origins of our existence.
This brings us to the interesting debate on what constitutes life. It's fascinating that all living organisms share 4 general properties. They have a metabolism, they respond to external stimuli, they can grow or evolve, and they can reproduce. And yet some entities blur these lines. Take viruses. They can reproduce, but only when infecting other living cells and using them as a host. Does that qualify them as alive or not? It's a hot topic, indeed.
Absolutely. It's not as black and white as one might think. Something like a snowflake, for instance, can grow and reproduce. But since it lacks a metabolism, it's not considered alive. It's a fascinating subject.
And what makes this even more intriguing is the fact that the raw ingredients required for life are found practically everywhere. We've discovered many organic compounds, such as sugars, amino acids, and more complex ones in interstellar space, asteroids, and on early Earth. Even the building blocks of life, like the nucleobases and amino acids used in biological processes, have been found aboard asteroids.
Yet, despite finding these prebiotic ingredients in space and on other celestial bodies, we've not found any evidence of biological activity outside of Earth. It really puts into perspective how unique and precious life on Earth is, doesn't it?
So, while we find the traces of life's building blocks in interstellar space and other celestial bodies, we have no evidence to suggest that life began anywhere other than Earth. We found all the nucleobases used in life processes, as well as more than 80 species of amino acids in meteorites, a diversity far beyond the 22 amino acids used in life processes on Earth. Yet, it seems likely that Earth was formed with all these raw ingredients, and possibly many more, right from the start.
That's an interesting perspective. So it's not just about having the ingredients, but also about having the right environment to facilitate the emergence of life from non-life.
Precisely. It's believed that along with biochemical precursor molecules, A planet needs a decent level of surface gravity, a thin atmosphere initially, and an environment that allows liquid water to exist on its surface. Among the planets that had these conditions, Venus, Earth, and Mars, Earth is the only planet we know of where life not only arose, but did so relatively early on in our solar system's history.
It blows my mind to think about the transformation of our planet, from a young hydrogen and helium atmosphere to a nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and water-rich atmosphere, thanks largely to volcanic activity and then further impacted by biological processes. It's a breathtaking journey.
It is indeed. But we must remember these transformations didn't happen overnight. The interiors of these planets required long geological periods of time to cool. After planetary formation, these molten surface worlds were too hot for liquid water to stably exist on their surfaces. So the conditions had to be just right, and it took time, lots of time. Now let's bring our focus to the early stages of our planet. There was rampant volcanic activity, the surface was unstable, and a period of heavy bombardment in our solar system was underway. Asteroid-like and comet-like objects were hitting all planetary bodies, marking their surfaces and causing magma to emerge from below. This chaos was paired with a surprising element: water.
It's fascinating that amidst all that chaos, elements essential for life were being brought to the surface.
Exactly. This volcanic activity and the impacts from other celestial bodies brought water to the surface. Scientists are still debating whether it was volcanism or impacts that were primarily responsible for delivering the majority of water to early Earth. Regardless, the amount of water present was very likely enough to create oceans, seas, lakes, and rivers, but not so much as to turn these planets into water worlds.
So there was a balance, not just watery chaos, but also the formation of continents.
Precisely. At the interface of these continents and oceans, pools of water formed. These were regions where water could stably exist on dry land and be subjected to all sorts of energy gradients. Think about these pools of water where abundant minerals lined the surface, where heat and energy gradients were abundant. This environment was ripe for the cooking of life.
So it's like a natural laboratory with all the right ingredients and conditions.
Yes, in this natural lab, molecules and atoms could bind together, amino acids could link up to form proteins, and dissolved ions could turn these proteins into enzymes. Cycles of evaporation could compel molecules to link together, and a variety of geochemical phenomena could provide opportunities for molecules to bind in novel ways. It's also worth noting that the effects of tides on Earth, which are partly due to the sun, could have played a significant role too. Astonishing, isn't it? Now, let's talk about a potential energy source that Earth possesses, which may have been crucial for life's origin: thermal activity from the interior of the planet.
So are we talking about like the heat from the Earth's core?
Yes, exactly. This thermal activity is prominent at the bottom of the oceans, in places called hydrothermal vents.
I've heard about those. Aren't they home to organisms that can survive extreme conditions?
That's correct. These vents are geological hotspots and are home to extremophiles, organisms that can withstand temperatures that would usually break the molecular bonds associated with life processes. These vents could be one of the leading locations where the first metabolic processes, the precursor to living organisms, arose.
So, if life can exist in these seemingly inhospitable conditions on Earth, there could be life in similar environments on other celestial bodies, right?
Absolutely. In fact, the existence of life in such environments on Earth makes places like Europa or Enceladus potential homes for life elsewhere in our solar system.
What about on land? Could life have also emerged from volcanic activity there?
It's a possibility. Volcanic activity doesn't only occur beneath the oceans. On land, we have hydrothermal fields, which are volcanically active areas beneath fresh water. These areas could provide stable temperatures and energy gradients, while allowing for evaporation and concentration cycles and enabling the right ingredients to accumulate.
So it's like Earth provided all the right cooking conditions for non-life to transform into life.
Yes, whether it was tide pools, hydrothermal vents, or hydrothermal fields, Earth offered a variety of environments where the transformation from non-life into life could have spontaneously occurred. And while many precursor molecules likely originated beyond Earth and came here later, the actual birth of life possibly happened right here on our planet. Let's examine the idea of DNA peptide coevolution. This is the concept that the first molecules capable of metabolizing energy and self-replication may not have survived for long without a protective membrane.
So they would have needed some sort of shell or barrier to survive in their environment?
Exactly. These early metabolic replicators might have gone extinct quickly without it. The next evolutionary step possibly involved the development of a mechanism to respond to environmental stimuli.
That's fascinating. So only after that step we could say that life had fully developed?
Precisely. It's when these entities gained the ability to grow, change, and evolve that we can pinpoint the moment and say that full-fledged life had truly arisen.
And do we know if life arose more than once or in different places?
We don't know for sure if life arose once, more than once, or in disparate locations. But if we look at the evolutionary tree of every current organism found on Earth, they all share the same common ancestor.
Does that mean life on Earth could have originated from a single group of organisms?
It's a generally accepted idea that all life forms present today have descended from a single population. Early on, after Earth first formed, life likely arose in our planet's waters. Details about the early stages of our planet are obscure, but what we know is that by the time Earth was less than 1 billion years old, life had already developed the ability to transcribe and translate information between DNA, RNA, and proteins. It's a captivating journey, isn't it? While geological processes can often obscure the fossil record beyond a few 100 million years, we have traced back the origin of life extraordinarily far. For instance, microbial fossils have been found in sandstone dating back to 3.5 billion years ago.
So we have proof that life thrived on Earth billions of years ago?
Yes, in fact, graphite found in metamorphosed sedimentary rock, which has biogenic origins, dates back to 3.8 billion years ago.
That's mind-boggling. Do we have any indications of life existing even earlier?
There are some debates about this, but deposits of certain crystals in rocks might have originated from biological processes, suggesting that Earth was teeming with life as early as 4.3 to 4.4 billion years ago.
Just 100 to 200 million years after the Earth and Moon formed. That's incredible.
Indeed it is. If we consider zircon crystals that may indicate the metamorphosed remains of organic material, the implications are astounding. It could mean that life on Earth existed almost for as long as the planet itself.
So these crystals could be proof that life was possible even during the heavy bombardment period.
That's a possibility. The graphite deposits found within these zircons exhibit interesting carbon isotope ratios, which are suggestive of a biological origin. But remember, this is not definitive proof.
Fascinating. So Earth was lined up with precursor molecules that had the potential to give rise to life, and under the right conditions, they could metabolize energy and replicate themselves?
Exactly. Those are the two fundamental characteristics of life, being able to metabolize energy and replicate oneself. All these findings show us how incredible life's journey on Earth has been. To tie everything together, those early metabolic replicators, perhaps already classifiable as life or perhaps needing more to truly be considered alive, at some point gained the ability to respond to their environments, grow, adapt, and even evolve.
So even though those primitive life forms might be unrecognizable to us today, they represent the true origin of life on Earth.
In a radically unbroken string of biological successes, our planet has been a living world ever since. While Venus and Mars may have had similar chances, their respective fates differed drastically.
I'm curious, what happened to Venus and Mars?
Well, radical changes to Venus's atmosphere rendered it a searing hothouse world after as little as merely 200 to 300 million years. The death of the Martian magnetic field caused its atmosphere to be stripped away, rendering it solid and frozen after approximately 1 to 1.5 billion years.
So while life may have been carried to other parts of the solar system and even the Milky Way galaxy through asteroid strikes, all evidence suggests that Earth is where the biological activity started?
Exactly. It took somewhere between 9.4 to 10 billion years after the Big Bang for planet Earth to go from a barren, lifeless state to one that was teeming with life. And we've never looked back since. It's a testament to the resilience and adaptability of life. In a nutshell, life on Earth as we understand it emerged a few 100 million years after the planet formed. Despite the abundant raw ingredients for life found across the universe, evidence of biological activity remains exclusive to Earth. It seems that the unique combination of surface gravity, thin atmosphere, liquid water, and biochemical precursor molecules created the perfect conditions for life here.
Absolutely, Caesar. The journey of life on Earth is an extraordinary story of resilience and adaptability. From the formation of metabolic replicators protected by a membrane to organisms that can respond to stimuli, grow, adapt, and reproduce, this journey is truly awe-inspiring.
And even as the Earth changed, all extant organisms can trace their lineage back to a common ancestor. It took billions of years for our planet to transform from a barren state to the thriving biosphere we live in today. So, while Venus and Mars had similar chances for life, their atmospheres underwent radical changes, leaving Earth as the only known place where life emerged.
That's right. And while we have evidence suggesting life may have existed as early as 4.3 to 4.4 billion years ago, the mystery remains as to the exact mechanism by which non-life transformed into life. But isn't that the beauty of science? Constantly unveiling the mysteries of our universe.
Absolutely. And as we continue this journey of discovery, we keep realizing that life as we know it is a rare gem in the vast cosmos. So let's appreciate our planet Earth, because as far as we know, it's the only home we've got.
What a note to end on. Thank you for joining us in today's episode of Curiosity Wonderland. If you enjoyed this journey into the origins of life, be sure to blast that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share this episode with your friends.
We always appreciate your support. And remember, stay curious, keep exploring, and we'll see you in the next episode of Curiosity Wonderland.
Until then, take care and keep unraveling the mysteries of the universe. Goodbye.
Goodbye. This fascinating conversation was inspired by an article titled, "What Was It Like When Life First Sprang Forth on Earth?" by Ethan Siegel, published on the Big Think site on February 8th, 2024. If you're curious to dive deeper, you'll find the full URL in our episode description. Until next time, keep exploring.